Prodigal! We're so glad you joined us today.
We're week 1 of our brand new series, Prodigal at the Movies, and Baptism Sunday. We're so excited to celebrate all these who have chosen to be Christ for life.
We can't believe it, but Prodigal is turning 8 years old on September 26th.
We can't wait to celebrate all that God has done in and through us over these last 8 years.
Coming this fall, we'll be having a number of connection events for everyone.
So make sure you have the Prodigal Church app so you don't miss a thing.
There are even things on there you should calendar and sign up for now, so check it out. Some of these connection events will include our fall small groups.
We're in need of leaders and hosts, so if interested, come talk to the staff.
Thanks so much for your support to Prodigal. If you like to give, you can use the app, website, giving boxes, or kiosk in the lobby.
Your generosity helps support the heart and mission of Prodigal.
That's all the announcements today.
Thank you for joining us for week 1 of Prodigal at the Movies.
Have a great Sunday!
Hi, my name's Ellie and I'm getting baptized today. Baptism is something that's been on my mind and in my heart for years. I've been exploring my faith since 2020, but every time I got close to taking the leap, there was always something stopping me. I'd go to church and I'd leave feeling guilt and shame. I'd go to Bible study and couldn't leave fast enough. I would stop and realize that I was giving into peer pressure and people pleasing. The messages I was hearing, they weren't what I stood for or what I believed. So I left and I started looking for God on my own. And I found Him. In the way the sun shone through the trees, the electricity in the air of my favorite concert, and the joy I felt when I did something I loved. I knew I was created to be kind, honest, and loving, and I knew He was rooting for me. He wanted me to be happy, healthy, and most importantly, loved. When I first came to Prodigal, I was very cynical. In no way did I think I was a Christian. All I knew was that I was spiritual, I had a personal relationship with God, and I was looking for a way to deepen that connection. It turns out that's all I needed. That was enough. I was welcomed with open arms by people who love like Jesus. People who explore the Bible and their faith with curiosity, who are welcoming to those who have doubts, questions, or even opposing opinions. And every time I'd question, is this where I'm supposed to be, God would send me a sign that it was. My name was mentioned in the first sermon I sat in on. The first time I met John for coffee, the conversation we had was straight out of my prayers. The first time my friends came to church with me, the sermon was The Woman at the Well. And I felt so incredibly seen, I cried tears of joy. That feeling followed me through this summer as I dove deeper into my faith, building relationships with all of you, working in the children's ministry, reading about repainting the Christian faith, and getting to have meaningful conversations about it. It felt so good and so right, and I want to commit my life to it, to living and loving like Jesus in all He calls us to do. My name's Ellie, and I'm Christ for life.
Hi, my name's Elliot, and I'm getting baptized today. Baptism is my chance to show you how much I love Jesus and I want to serve Him for the rest of my life. My whole family teaches me about Jesus. Mom, Dad, my grandparents, and Pastor John and Pastor Brittany. I'm excited to keep learning more. My name's Elliot, and I'm Christ for life.
Hi, my name is Ezra, and I'm getting baptized today. I am really excited to get baptized, and I have been waiting for a long time. I started learning about Jesus when I was like 3 or 4 years old. My grandma and papa, my Thea, and my great-grandma always talks to me about Jesus, and my grandma and papa bring me to church. I learned that Jesus loves everyone and helps everyone, not the devil though. I know that He loves me and I want to be like Him. My name is Ezra and I'm Christ for life.
Hi, my name is Grace and I'm getting baptized today. I don't remember not knowing Jesus. Since I was born, my parents have taken special care to teach me about God. They worked in and planted a church, meaning that as a little girl, my entire community was Christian. I was surrounded by wonderful people with wonderful testimonies who loved me. But buried in me, unconsciously, was an expectation. One day I thought I would have a big holy moment and I would become a real grateful Christian. As I got older, my faith changed and grew and became my own as I did. but I still held on to this idea that I needed to have a godly encounter to really go farther with God. This summer, I did a lot. I served as an intern, I went to Montana by myself, and I went to Malawi, Africa with a team from the church. I found a new, freer version of myself in Africa. A lot became clear to me about myself and what I wanted to do with my life. As I watched and loved the happy, gorgeous people of Malawi, I grew frustrated with myself. Why couldn't I love Jesus like that? Why hadn't God spoken to me? I wanted to celebrate like that. And slowly, I realized that I didn't need a sign. I just need to decide. So today, I'm putting aside my fear of the spotlight, my fear of insincerity, and the million others that are probably flooding me right now. And I'm getting baptized. My name is Grace, and I'm Christ for life.
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and I'm getting baptized today. I'm getting baptized because I want to take another step and show my dedication to God. I grew up in a Christian household but never attended church regularly. A few years ago, I started to attend church every Sunday with my family. I fell in love with the atmosphere and could feel my connection with God growing stronger. After attending multiple churches over the years, none of them has felt like home until Prodigal. I grew my faith through serving in the PC Kids Ministry and learning more about God. I want to continue to live the way Jesus would have wanted. I want the world to know that I love Jesus and want to serve Him for life. My name is Caitlin, and I'm Christ for life.
Welcome to Regal Entertainment. Refreshments are available in the lobby. Enjoy the show.
Jesus spoke in parables. And what are parables? They are familiar stories, common stories of the day with twists and turns and morals and lessons. Movies are modern day parables. And so for the next few weeks, we're going to be exploring some modern day parables. Movies that have deep truths that connect with biblical truths. And we'll just see what God might have in store for us. Many of you are excited for this series, like a series like this. Others are like, we shouldn't be talking about movies in church, okay? We should be talking about the Bible. Well, we are talking about the Bible, and we just spent 8 weeks in the book of Revelation this summer, so you can download that series if you need to listen to one of those. This one's going to be a little bit more fun, okay? There have been multiple times in my life where God has used a movie to speak to me. I'm not in a church. I'm not at a retreat or a missions trip. I'm in a theater or I'm on my couch. And I'm not watching a sermon or a powerful documentary. I'm watching Disney or DreamWorks or some other movie studio. And then the God of the universe begins teaching me something through pixels on a screen. Has this happened to you too? And most often, when this happens, I'm watching a movie with my kids. I love movie nights. And whenever we do movie nights in our house, I yell loudly, "Movie night!" And then almost everyone in the house cringes, okay? Maybe it's my tone, maybe it's my volume, but whenever I say, "Movie night," some or all of them say, "No." But then we hit play, and within 5 minutes, we're all hooked. Today, we're going to be talking about Encanto. And we're a bit pressed for time in week 1 because of the amazing baptism service that we're having on Sunday. But Encanto came out in November of 2021. And just so you know, throughout this series, there will be some spoilers given, okay? The movie Encanto is about family. When the creators of the film started, they wanted to make a movie about family. So they literally stood around a whiteboard, started talking about their own experiences with family. They came up with 3 things that became the basis for the movie. And I want to share them with you. The first one is most of us don't feel truly seen by our families. The second, most of us carry burdens we never let our families see. And the third one is, most of us are oblivious that nearly all of us, especially within our own families, feel the exact same way. Okay, this is important. I'm going to read them once more. Okay, can you relate? I want you to think about yourself and your own family. And if not your blood relations, maybe your family, like work family or social family, church family. Okay, think about it. So the first one is, most of us don't feel truly seen by our families. Most of us carry burdens we never let our families see. And most of us are oblivious that nearly all of us, especially within our own family, feel the exact same way. Okay, we're going to come back to that later, but we certainly see this play out in the family madrigal. Okay, that's the family in this movie. The main character of this film is Mirabel. Mirabel is the first main Disney animated female character lead to wear glasses. And one of the reasons she does this is that her name comes from the Spanish word mira, which means look. So Mirabel is a member of the Madrigal family. And she's the only one in her family that doesn't have a supernatural power. Others in the family can talk to animals, heal through food, control the weather, they're very strong. And then the house that they live in, like La Casita, it's also miraculous. The casita really mirrors the family and their dynamic. Early on in the film, we're not given much details about the miracle that has enabled this family to have these gifts, but the gifts are to be used to help the family and to help the community. And the opening song introduces the family and all their powers. Check it out.
Morning, abuelo.
Hey, when's Magic Gift happen?
My cousin's ceremony is tonight.
What's his gift?
We're gonna find out.
What's your gift?
Who's asking?
Us?
Well, us. I can't just talk about myself. I'm only part of the amazing Madrigals.
Who's all the amazing Madrigals?
Ah, you're not gonna leave me alone, are you? Casita, help me out. Drawers. Floors. Doors. Let's go. Welcome to Family Madrigal. The home of the family Madrigal. We're on our way. Where all the people are fantastical and magical. I'm part of Family Madrigal.
Oh my gosh, it's them! What are they saying? I can't remember all the I don't know who is who.
All right, relax.
It is physically impossible to relax. That's everything. What are your powers? Just tell us what everyone can do.
And that's why coffee's for grown-ups. Might be a Peppa, her mood affects the weather. When she's unhappy, well, the temperature gets weird. Might be a Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. They say he saw the future. One day he disappeared. Oh, and that's why Mom Julieta, here's her deal. Whoa, the truth is she can heal you with a meal. Whoa, her recipes are remedies for real. If you're impressed, imagine how I feel, Mom. Life in the family Madrigal. Whoa, now you know the family Madrigal. Whoa, where all the people are fantastical and magical. That's who we are in the family Madrigal. Adios. Oh,
But what's your gift?
well, I gotta go the life of a Madrigal. But now you all know the family Madrigal. I never meant this to get autobiographical. Just to review the family Madrigal. Let's go. My family's amazing. And I'm in my family, so.
What are you doing?
They were just asking about the family and...
She was about to tell us about her super awesome gift!
Oh, Mirabel didn't get one.
You didn't get a gift?
Mirabel! Delivery! I gave you the special since you're the only Madrigal kid with no gift. I call it the not special since, you have no gift.
Thanks.
Oh, and tell Antonio good luck. Last gift ceremony was a bummer. Last one being yours, that did not work.
If I was you, I'll be really sad.
Well, my little friend, I am not. Because the truth is, gift or no gift, I am just as special as the rest of my family.
Who wants more cake?
All right, guys, where do I drop the wagon?
Maybe your gift is being in denial.
Everyone in the family has supernatural gifts, except Mirabel. And throughout the movie, we begin to discover that everything is just not as it seems. Everyone has issues under the surface. Even though on the outside they look great, picture perfect almost. Deep down there's pain, there's longing, there's discord, there's secrets. And this is seen in many ways, but it's also seen in the casita, which also looks perfect, but there begins to be cracks in the walls. The house and family look good on the outside, but are crumbling on the inside. There's dysfunction. And Mirabel seems to be the only one who notices. She seems to be the only one willing to bring it out into the open. And we're going to do something we're not supposed to do right now. We're going to talk about Bruno. This song was #1 for a long, long time. You've probably heard your kids sing it. We don't talk about Bruno. It's very catchy. It's about Mirabel's uncle, whose gift was prophecy. And sometimes the prophecies were seen as negative. They would come true, and then one day he disappears. He becomes the family secret. The first Easter egg of the Encanto movie is actually from the movie's poster, where you can see Bruno hiding in the background. Bruno was the black sheep. He was the one we don't speak of. He was the one we don't see. Who in your family do you truly not see? Who in your family carries a burden that you don't recognize? Now, once again, this might not be your blood family. It might be your family by marriage or your work family, your social circle, your church family. But who carries a burden that you do not fully see? And what can you do to see them more deeply? To respect them more deeply? And who in your family do you not talk about? Who most needs to be included? And by doing so, it might bring healing that's profoundly necessary. Okay, we see this in the movie. It is only when Bruno is brought back into the fold that healing takes place. Okay, but we're not there yet. The brokenness of the family and the brokenness of La Casita, they come to a head. The gifts, the supernatural powers, they begin fading, and the casita crumbles. And Mirabel tackles the unspoken issues head on. It's Mirabel's questioning that sets her sisters on a path of self-discovery and realization, and it's beautiful. And eventually it is Mirabel, with the help of her uncle Bruno, that the miracle is restored. The family's restored, and the casita is restored. And so, even though Mirabel did not get a gift at the beginning of the movie, we saw that she did have a gift, namely her ability to bring back the magic, which only became visible at the end of the film. She reminded everyone that love was more important than gifts, and a willingness to work together was more precious than abilities. Now, there are so many spiritual parallels in this movie. I didn't know where to start. Okay, the magical family thought Bruno had run away, yet in Mirabel's quest for truth, she discovers that Bruno's actually living in the walls of their family home. He's made friends with the rats. And not only that, he's holding the house together. Even as he's shunned, Bruno remains actively, selflessly at work on the family's behalf. He's mending the cracked walls caused by the family's unjust rejection of him. Do you hear it? Bruno, the rejected son, the one interceding on behalf of the very family that betrayed him, a picture of Christ. At the end of the movie, we're finally told of the event that began the miracle in the first place. It was Abuela's husband who sacrificed himself for his family and the community that sparked the first miracle. sacrificial love, someone dying so that others may live and be imparted with gifts that are to be a blessing to the community and to the world. Another picture of Jesus in Encanto. Also, the truth that on the outside, it looks like people have it together, but inside there's cracks in the walls, and the reality is they're falling apart. There are so many truths in this parable. I mean, movie. Okay, we could go a lot of directions. But as I rewatched this film this week, my heart went to Moses. You see, Moses encounters God in the desert of Midian, his everyday life. He'd spent the past 4 decades living a quiet life as a shepherd. And then one day, he passed by a bush that he had passed by thousands of times. But this time, it was different. Exodus chapter 3. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Moses wasn't doing anything special in this moment. Okay, he wasn't on a retreat. He wasn't on a mission trip. He was just doing his job. God shows up. God works like amidst the unspectacular. And fire is a common element that regularly accompanies God's self-revelation. And it's seen here in the bush. Fire is a frequent sign of God's presence in the book of Exodus. Now, why does Moses need to remove his sandals? Like it brings us back to our parents yelling at us when we enter the front door after playing outside. Take off your shoes. You're going to get dirt everywhere. But here, Moses is in a desert. There's dirt everywhere. What's going on? Removing your shoes was and still is a sign of reverence common in the ancient Near East, a practice that continues to this day. Nearly all other religions take shoes off. Christianity does not. Why? Because everywhere we go is sacred. This is the first place that's called holy in the Bible. The first place that's called holy isn't a temple, it isn't a tabernacle, it isn't a mountaintop. It's a patch of dirt in a desert. Taking off shoes was a way of honoring the host. But we don't remove our shoes, but we should be walking through the world with barefoot hearts. How can you honor and bless the people at your workplace? How can you have a barefoot heart? While walking from the parking lot to your job, with each step, could your heart proclaim that this asphalt is holy asphalt? That the carpet in your house is a holy carpet. The whole earth belongs to the Lord, and his presence isn't confined to a church building or a temple or a sanctuary. The playground at your child's school is a holy playground. And as followers of Jesus, we walk the world with barefoot hearts. You see this in Encanto as well. You think the casita is the holy place where the magic comes from, and the house has to be fixed if the magic is going to be fixed. No, it's not about the place. It's about the heart. It's not the home that will heal the heart. It is the heart that will heal a home. You see that throughout the movie, and especially at the end. When Moses takes off his sandals, we often read it like we think God's asking Moses to take off his shoes, because the shoes are kind of like a barrier. He's holy, I'm not. I need to take this seriously. And I think that's true, but you can also think of it another way. The sandals of Moses were the barrier between him and God. And so by asking him to remove his shoes, he's trying to remove all barriers of intimacy. It's not just, I'm God, keep your distance, I'm holy. It's also, let's get closer. Let's remove what is between us. So from the burning bush, God calls Moses to free his people from bondage and slavery. And Moses comes up with all kinds of excuses. Okay? He says, I'm nobody special. I'm no theologian. What if they don't believe? I don't talk good. I don't want to. Okay, these excuses are given over a chapter and a half, and God has a response to every one of Moses' excuses. I'm a nobody. Everyone else has these gifts and talents. I'm just a shepherd in Midian. And all of these objections from Moses, they're just excuses. They're excuses that revealed his heart. He just didn't really want to do it. Excuses reveal our heart. You know this is true. Someone texts you at 5 p.m. on a Friday to go to dinner, but you're already in your pajamas. You're already ready to just crash on the couch. And so you respond, I'm sorry, I can't tonight. I've got a ton of work. They text back, but it's Friday night. Yeah, I know, but I've got to get a good head start for Monday. Plus, my cat is sick and I have to water my plants. Okay, well, actually, you just don't want to go. Excuses reveal your heart. I read about some excuses this week, and these are notes from parents to excuse their child's absence from school. Okay? Please excuse Joyce from PE for a few days. Yesterday she fell out of a tree and misplaced her hip. My son is under the doctor's care and should not take PE. Please execute him. Okay, be careful what you write. Please excuse Ray Friday. He has loose vowels. I think she meant loose bowels, but we'll never know. Mary could not come to school because she is bothered by very close veins. Okay. Excuses. Did you know that most flat tires occur on Monday mornings and Friday afternoons? Why? Why these particular times? Real flat tires or unverified reports of flat tires? All I know is Monday mornings are when most people don't want to go in, and Friday afternoons are when most people after lunch don't want to go back. Excuses reveal our hearts. The same is true for Moses. The same is true for me. The same is true for you. What might God be calling you to, and what's been your go-to excuse? We're not fooling anyone. Excuses reveal our hearts. Look at what Moses says in verse 13 of chapter 4. But Moses said, pardon your servant, Lord. Send someone else. I just don't want to, okay? I've given you 4 excuses, but at the end of the day, I just don't want to. Send somebody else. No matter what, signs or no signs, whether or not God promises to be with him, Moses flat out just doesn't want to go. He's still viewing his call in light of his circumstances. What's your excuse? I'm too young. I'm too old. I don't talk good. I'm not ready. I'm still new to following Jesus. I'm too busy. I don't make enough money. Have you ever used the phrase, I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't? Okay, I used to say that a lot as a kid. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't. A reframing of that phrase is necessary. I would if I could, but I can't, so God will. That's what happens in Exodus. He makes a way. What excuse are you making that is hindering you from taking your next step in your journey with Jesus? My 10th grade football coach said something to me in 1996, and I'll never forget it. He said, excuses are like armpits. We all got them, and they all stink. And so Moses here rattles off all kinds of excuses. In the first excuse, Exodus 3:14, God said to Moses, I am who I am. That's how God answers Moses, by saying, I am who I am. These three Hebrew words, Ayah, Asher, Ayah, are among the most discussed of any in the Old Testament. The Lord, Yahweh, tetragrammaton, which means 4 letters. Yahweh, He is. In Greek, it's ego eimi, and it's literally translated as I am. Now, there are all sorts of ways to understand this name, and we could do a whole sermon series on just this one word. Rabbis and scholars have wrestled with this for centuries. 4 letters, Yod, He, Vah, He. Yahweh, the Lord. Yod, He, Vah, He. Some say that it's actually the sound of breathing. Yod, He, Vah, He. Or they translate it, I will be who I will be. Some scholars think that this phrase itself is the very definition of existence. Moses goes to God with excuses, and God says, I am. God answers with a name. God encounters you in your everyday. We bring our questions and excuses to Him. He reveals our heart, and He responds with His name. I am. And with I am with me, it does not matter what I am not. And in chapter 6, we read this. God also said to Moses, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but my name, the Lord, I did not make myself fully known to them. God responds with, I am. Remember who I am. Let me give you hope about what will happen. And it says He appeared before as God Almighty, which is El Shaddai. And it comes from the Akkadian Sadu, which means mountains or breasts. To the Akkadians, there were mountains, and then there were mountains. To say God of the mountains, you're saying 2 things. God of might and God of life. God of power. God of intimacy. God of tenderness. He isn't just God Almighty, El Shaddai, the God of mountains and tenderness. He's also the great I am. Moses, in crisis, God responds with His name. The same thing happens to the Madrigal family in Encanto. Crisis, rupture, calling, gifting, excuses. And peace and reconciliation only arrives when they live into their name. Madrigal. What does it mean? A madrigal is a musical setting of poetry composed of several voices. The madrigal was usually sung without instrument accompaniment. So it's just the voices. It's a type of song. No instruments, no supernatural abilities. Just what God gave you together. Different tones, different sounds, creating something beautiful. And you see, it's only when the family lives out this identity that the casita and the miracle returns. It's always about relationships. And it is only when we, as followers of Jesus, live out our name, to be like Christ, to live out sacrificial love for everyone, even our enemies, that we can bring the peace, the shalom, the reign of God in our homes, in our communities, and in our world. Lord, help us fix the cracks in our houses by allowing you to fix our hearts, making them more like yours. Jesus, I pray a blessing over the homes of everyone who's listening or watching online now. Bless them in every way. Expand their gifts, and may you use their gifts to heal, to bless. God, help us not to envy the gifts of others. Help us to reach out to the family member that we don't speak of, that's hard to love, the person in our office that's hard to love. Help us, God, to live out our calling to be like you. In Jesus' name. Well, thank you so much for joining us online at Prodigal Church Fresno. Join us next week for week 2 of our series, Prodigal at the Movies. Grace